national data on these incidents. And I talk to police departments also, and they will say, we agree, but it's burdensome. But when they do it through our consent decrees, they say, it really is useful, it really is helpful. Right. And that's why we're talking with police groups now on getting national standards for the data and collection of use of force and other incidents as well. This is really vital to the discussion also.
Okay, wonderful. We have time for one more question. Maybe just something to have the audience get to know you a little bit. What has been the most rewarding part of your career?
Well, I have to tell you, being Attorney General is pretty good. It is pretty good. But I have to say, I think if you talk to most people, they'll probably, and with that question, they'll probably look back on a point that at the time, or a situation they were in at the time that they didn't realize was so impactful, but looking back was the work that I was able to do when I was in private practice at a firm that I know you know well.
Yes.
And I spent a significant amount of time over several years doing pro bono work at the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. And I taught a trial advocacy clinic there with a group of other lawyers for several years, from 2001 through 2007. And then in the summer of 2005, the tribunal needed assistance with a witness tampering investigation. And they asked me to come in and do a special investigation for them. And so I spent most of the summer of 2005, which was 10 years ago, in Rwanda interviewing genocide survivors. In order to deal with the witness tampering investigation, I had to go back and reinvestigate the original massacre that was the topic of some testimony that possibly had been tainted. And it was a tremendous experience. I spent a lot of time delving into the history of, frankly, one of the most horrific acts that I think civilization has seen, when one group tried to wipe another from the face of the earth. And it was rewarding as a prosecutor, was moving as a person, and in many ways it shook me, but it made me think a lot about the basis for why we have this situation in so many instances, in so many ways, of man's inhumanity to man. Whether it's tribalism, whether it's racism, whether it's xenophobia, whether it's the anti-Muslim backlash and violence that we're talking about. We spend so much time and energy finding ways to divide ourselves from each other, and then thinking, aha, now that I've found the difference, I can act on it. And it's really been an eye-opening experience to me to see this. I don't know the reason why. I do not pretend to understand the human condition enough to know why we fall victim to this time and time again. I don't know that. But I did see, as a result of the tribunal, and I've been able to see, frankly, as Attorney General, is what happens when people of goodwill, and in many instances good faiths, plural, come together and decide to stop it. And when we descend into the heart of that darkness, be it a genocide, be it racism, be it what we're talking about tonight, we pull together and we come together. And for me, I turn to the law for that. Other people turn to other types of organization, but we find a way to say, this is not who we are, and we find a way to try and give justice to victims of that kind of hatred. And so it made me tremendously sad to talk to the survivors and hear their stories, but it also made me tremendously proud of the fact that they trusted me with their stories, and that I was part of a system that had as its goal and at its heart justice for them. And I've kept that with me ever since then, actually. I was fortunate enough to be back in Rwanda a few weeks ago and to revisit some of the locations. And I think about that when I'm sitting in the Attorney General's office. I think someone asked me, how am I doing? It's been a bad day or a difficult day. It's like, I'm alive. No one's chasing me with a machete.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. But what I think about is that throughout this world, and even more and more throughout this country, there are people who can't say that.
Yeah.
They can't say that. And I have the ability to do something about that. I have the ability, and I have the team, and I have dedicated people who work all day and well into the night to stop that and to do something about that and to find justice for people. And so what I've realized is I cannot guarantee the absence of discrimination or hatred or prejudice, but I can guarantee the presence of justice. So that's why that was rewarding.
I can't think of a better word to end on, Attorney General. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I think hearing your reassuring words at this challenging time for our country and for the American Muslim community is just so meaningful to us. So thank you again. And everyone, please.
You guys have been a great crowd. We have one last speaker who actually got bumped. He was sitting and now he's got to follow. It's like following Dave Chappelle. Good luck with that, buddy. It's like if I had to follow Chappelle. He's a great guy. He's the mayor of Teaneck, one of the first mayors, Muslim mayor of any place in New Jersey. Now he's a councilman. He does great work. He's on the board here for Muslim Advocates. Please welcome my friend Mohammed Hamadeen.
Just read the program. Dean went out of order, okay? Dean went out of order. But please give Dean Obeidallah a round of applause for all he does on CNN and the Daily Beast and being an ambassador for Muslims in America. Thank you. My name's Mohammed Hamiduddin, and I'm humbled and inspired to be here with you tonight. I'm inspired as our community faces tragedy and attack. I am inspired that there is a strong and successful group like Muslim Advocates defending the rights of American Muslims and all Americans. And I am humbled to be asked here to speak with you tonight. You see, it is you who have made Muslim Advocates our champion. It is you whose support underlies a decade of judicial victories and much more. Thank you for what you have done, and thank you for what you will continue to do for our children and our community. Give yourselves a round of applause. My own children are 4 and 3, and as we face fear and lies spread by politicians and pundits, I want to do the best I can to make lasting change and build a safe and secure world for my children and yours. How can we do that? We can keep Muslim Advocates strong and able to continue spreading truth and securing justice in the future. I invite you to pick up the pledge card in front of you and join me now by making your most meaningful commitment to a brighter future for America and for our children. Let's be honest. Many of you came here tonight, you had a certain amount of money that you were going to give. But this year, normally I would thank you, but this year is different. This year, the stakes are higher. This year, the rhetoric has been turned up. And now more than ever, we must work harder than ever before to protect liberty and equality. And so I want to ask you consider, if you're able, to doubling that number. Now, perhaps you've already made a gift to Muslim Advocates this year. Usually I would thank you and the others here to join you. But this year is different. This year, I'm going to ask every person in the room sitting at every table to consider digging deeper and to show your full, strong support right now. And this year, if you designate your gift on your pledge card to our anti-Muslim hate work, you will help us receive a dollar-for-dollar matching grant up to $75,000. So please, put your cards in your envelopes. Our grateful staff and our smiling volunteers are walking around the room, and they're making their way to collect your envelopes. You inspire us all. We are stronger together because of you. We will move forward together because of you. Thank you very much.
Mohammed Hamadeen, councilman from Teaneck. One more round of applause for him, please. Before we wrap up, a couple of things. One quick thing touching on what Mohammed said. And again, it's a quick quote that I love from Martin Luther King, which has really inspired me, and I'll slightly paraphrase it. And he said, the greatest